Xbox continues to dominate the sales charts, not only on their own platform, but on other platforms. We have a look at what is happening in the subscription services model, even against everything that people have been trying to throw out there and tear down subscription services. It looks like it is becoming more popular. Subnautica 2, an interesting story surrounding this game. It is getting delayed, but maybe not for the reason that you may think. Stalker 2 is announced for the PlayStation 5, and there's many other things to go over today. Lots of news that did happen from some more layoffs, as well as something crazy going on with Call of Duty World War II, which we've covered previously, but we have more info on it. So we will talk about all of that plus more. But before we do get into it, if you do enjoy daily gaming news, make sure to hit the subscribe, share, like. All of those things go a long way for helping get this channel to grow and get more people to see the video. So I do appreciate that. But for now, let's get into it. So every single month we get updates for what is happening in the video games industry from Matt Piscatella and Circana. And there's always some big insights that do come out of this. One of the most interesting things that people do like to see are what are the top selling games? What are the top selling games by platform? And Xbox, as it has been, I think now for a couple of months, is dominating these sales charts. And there is some pretty eye-opening things here that PlayStation is probably looking at themselves. They are looking at the games that are selling on their platform. They're probably also looking at the games that are selling on other platforms. Xbox is at the top of both PlayStation and the Xbox sales charts, as well as doing pretty good in the overall sales charts for premium games. So we take a look here from Matt Piscatella of Circana, and here are the 2025 year-to-date top 20 best-selling premium games. This is in the US, and this is for dollar sales, physical and digital, and from the digital data sharing publishers, and it does exclude the add-on content, but you can see the top-selling games here. Monster Hunter Wilds right now, year-to-date, is the best-selling game. I'm not surprised by this. Monster Hunter is pretty popular, one of the most popular. I think it is the most popular Capcom games. So I'm not shocked that this is at the top of the charts. And one of the weird things with Wilds is that this is one that started off very strong. You saw a lot of people talking about it and excited about it. I feel like it has fallen off. I think a lot of people actually prefer Monster Hunter Worlds, but it is still here on top of the sales charts. The next one is just kind of mind-blowing how this game did so well with it being shadow dropped and day one on Xbox Game Pass in a subscription service, which we will talk a bit about more in later on this video. But the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster right now is the second best selling game year to date. Phenomenal work there to get that one up on the charts, and they didn't have to do any marketing. They literally just came out, dropped it into Game Pass, dropped it onto the platforms that it was releasing on, and it has sold like crazy. I really see Xbox looking at this as a blueprint of what they can do with well-known IPs and well-known titles that people want to see and want to play, especially if they have been gone for a long time. Like, this was a perfect remake because Oblivion came out so long ago that it really got the hype up there for it, and it really was making sense to remake this game. You felt the difference. You saw the difference in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remaster. They call it a remaster. To me, it seems like a remake, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. The third top game here is Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Assassin's Creed Shadows, people are still saying this game was a failure. Assassin's Creed Shadows is right now still at number 3 of the top selling games. So this game was a success. It sold well, and it is a very good Assassin's Creed game. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is right now here at number 4. And this is obviously a game that did release last year, was on top of the charts last year, but still ranking high. And again, a Microsoft game. And you go down here, you have Forza Horizon 5 that is still on top of the charts here in the top 20. Right now it is at number 12, which this is a game that came out in 2021. It's still charting in the top 20 selling games. And a lot of that will have to do with the fact that it did launch onto the PS5. Doom: The Dark Ages did chart here at number 16. And then you also have Spider-Man 2, which is still charting here at number 20. So that one is also doing pretty good from PlayStation. So that's the top 20 games, some of the big ones that I did mention. But then we move over to the top selling games on PlayStation and the top selling games on Xbox. And one thing that you will see that is similar between both of these platforms is that Xbox games are topping these charts. They are in the top 10 and they dominate these charts on both platforms, having the most games from a single publisher. So it's pretty impressive. And if you've ever asked yourself why, if you're still asking yourself why, because I think it's obvious, but if you're still asking yourself why Xbox puts their games on PlayStation, it's because they are making a ton of money off of PlayStation gamers. And this helps them continue with putting out games into Game Pass, putting out third-party deals with day one launches into Game Pass. All of that stuff helps them fund the development of their first-party titles. So that's why they do that, and it just makes a ton of sense, especially now with the whole ABK Activision Blizzard acquisition. But you see the games that are on top of the charts specifically. On PlayStation, you have Doom: The Dark Ages, which was the second best-selling game, Forza Horizon 5, which is still charting, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, Minecraft is in there. So a bunch of games. You have 5 games in the top 10. 50% of the top-selling games on PlayStation are Xbox games. Pretty crazy to think about. And then you go down here to Xbox, and I believe it is the same games here that are in the top, but just in a different order. Aside from the Elder Scrolls Online, which is actually the second best-selling one. Pretty interesting there. This is the MMO. Elder Scrolls Online number 2, Doom: The Dark Ages number 3, Oblivion Remastered here at number 6, and then you have Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at number 7. So Doom actually did pretty good based off of these charts. It was in the top 20 overall, and it was in the top 10 for both Xbox and PlayStation. But this is basically the strategy that is paying off, I would say, at this point, with how good their games are selling. On top of that, I think if you're PlayStation and you're looking at this and you're even looking at your own charts here, you have nothing of your own games in the top 10 on a monthly basis now, pretty consistently, because there really isn't anything from them as a publisher from Sony Interactive Entertainment. So they're looking at this and they're probably thinking they have to do something to get more titles out there. They have to find ways to make more money for these games. We did see Helldivers 2 drop onto the Xbox platform. I wouldn't be shocked if we start seeing more PlayStation games dropping onto other platforms in the near future, just by them seeing that they are pretty much getting beat out here by a big margin, I would say, for game sales overall, and by their number one competitor, which is Xbox. So big stuff there. Not shocking. I think we will continue to see this happen. I think Xbox will continue to top the PlayStation charts as they have been releasing tons of content and they have some of the biggest service games out there on the market. The other thing people were going crazy about, again, it was, in my opinion, a lot of stupidity out there after the obvious negative news about the layoffs, which still, for the people who did lose their job, it is very sad. But Game Pass itself, the whole conversation came back about sustainability and all of that nonsense that I talked about in a video a few days ago, which my thoughts on why it made no sense, why people were losing their minds and how they were measuring sustainability did end up being right, as Chris String had to go ahead and correct himself. But one of the big things here in today's world is that economically, games are more expensive, consoles are more expensive. The overall gaming hobby is becoming more expensive if you are not using one of these subscription services, paying $80, $80+ per game, depending on where you live. It's just not really feasible for a lot of people. So they're not going to be able to play tons of stuff that do come out every single year. And we have so many games launching, so it's almost impossible for these games to find a market. If the prices do go up, it's going to be hard for a lot of games to compete. And this is why you see a lot of failures, closures, and layoffs, because the competition is high and the market just doesn't right now have the money that they want to spend on this stuff. And one of the things that has been saving that is subscription services. It allows people to get into the video game hobby at a much cheaper price. And I really see subscriptions continuing to grow as we go through here the next number of years, as right now, economically, things aren't getting better for a lot of people. So they're going to have to find other ways to play games. Subscriptions is going to be that thing. We have Matt Piscatelli here with the data showing that is the case right now. The spending is increasing. He says U.S. video game subscription spending reached an all-time monthly high in May 2025 while experiencing its third consecutive month of growth. Looks to me that the pressures of higher prices in everyday spending categories like food and general economic uncertainty has folks looking for value. This is the reality. I'm not shocked about this one at all. And I think this will continue. So when it comes to Game Pass, right now, it is the best value in gaming, and it is, I think, going to continue to get better and continue to grow. Even PlayStation Plus, they just put out their recent announcement for July, and they have Cyberpunk in there and a couple of other good games. They have another day one third-party game into the service as well. PS Plus, you can tell PlayStation has been investing more and more into it. They've been getting much better announcements on a monthly basis, and you know that PlayStation is looking that they need to grow that as one of their main pillars for PlayStation. So subscriptions, I think, is the future. That in cloud gaming will continue to grow, whether you're a fan of those things or not, just based off of what is happening economically and where consumers need to think about spending their money. I think subscriptions will be a major, major player. Subnautica 2, this game is a day one Xbox Game Pass game. There's a very interesting story happening right now surrounding it. It has reportedly been delayed to 2026. And the reasoning behind this is not what you would think. It doesn't seem like it's because this game can't make it out for the 2025 release date or that it is in a terrible state, but rather it's because Krafton wants to kill a $250 million bonus for the developers by delaying this game into 2026. This news comes via a report from Bloomberg. And sources, they say, familiar with the company's plans told the outlet that the game's release has been pushed back. Notably, they say here that the decision to delay the title's early access launch was something that the leadership disagreed with. And they say that Krafton announced it had replaced Unknown Worlds leadership just last week. So those are the people developing the game here, with founders Charlie Cleveland and Max McGuire and CEO Ted Gill, succeeded by Steve Papoutsis, the CEO of Striking Distance Studios, who made the Callisto Protocol, which by all accounts was a pretty big failure of a game, and that is effective immediately. And they say there's nothing more important than the gamer experience. Given the anticipation around Subnautica 2, we owe our players nothing less than the best possible game as soon as possible. That's from Krafton CEO Chang Han Kim saying this. But they also say here a reason for changing the guard wasn't given, but was found out here that the aforementioned $250 million bonus was set to be paid to Unknown Worlds developers if Subnautica 2 hit revenue goals by the end of 2025 following its early access release. And reportedly, its sum would have been shared with all of the studio's 100 or so employees, with the staff told that they could expect payouts ranging from 6 to 7 figures. And developers speaking to Bloomberg have said here that the game's launch has now been pushed to next year, and reaching those sales goals now seem effectively impossible. So it sounds like they're delaying this game so that they don't have to pay out that $250 million, which is like kind of a slap in the face to the developers. If you have been working very hard, knowing that that was the bonus that was on the table, if you were able to deliver this game on time and get people to jump in and play it and make money off it. Subnautica, the first one was pretty popular. I think Subnautica 2 would have done very well. It was also in Game Pass. A lot of people would have played it. So they had a good chance if it would have released on time to get that bonus, but Krafton has decided to delay it, sounding like they just did not want to pay that out. All right, let's talk here. A couple more Xbox things here. Sea of Thieves, there is a community direct today. So if you're a fan of this game, and they say they'll talk about upcoming seasons with big insider program changes and a much requested feature that's recently been taken away in development. I think more people will be interested in this one just simply because of the leadership that have left Rare in the last week or so. And I wonder if they're going to talk about any of that and have any updates on that. I don't think that'll be a major thing here, but I have seen some articles that were suggesting that the game was going to be in trouble simply because those people left. Sea of Thieves is extremely popular. It's very successful. This game isn't going anywhere by any means. So we'll see what this update is all about and if they do mention anything about the departures. And then we have this story here about Call of Duty World War II. We've talked about this one already, that on PC, people are getting their computers hacked because they released a unsecure version of this game with a bunch of security flaws, and it was just kind of a mess. Well, now they've actually taken it off of the store itself completely and try to get a fix on this because it is very, very bad. They say here that the publisher announced that World War II was brought offline on Friday while they investigate reports of an issue, but they didn't announce the reason for taking the game offline. But the biggest issue here is that the outage only affects PC versions of the game from Microsoft Storefront and the Game Pass subscription service, and the game remains playable through Steam on PC along with Xbox and other platforms, which is insane to think that this was not worked out previous to getting this game released. This tells me that there is definitely a lot of work that has to go into the Microsoft storefront releases of these games, specifically on Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is notorious for having cheaters and hackers and things that ruin the game's experience on PC. The other thing that is interesting about this is that Tom Warren mentioned that there's actually an updated version of this game, but they didn't upload that one to the Microsoft store. So maybe this could have just been a simple error that they put the wrong version on the store itself. In fact, he says this in a response to somebody asking about this, saying pretty much all Call of Duty games based on the older Infinity Ward engine, so everything before MW 2019, have these vulnerabilities. So they have a lot of work to, which is true. A lot of the PC stuff here for Call of Duty is pretty bad with these vulnerabilities. But Tom Warren replies here and says the point is that this one was patched, and yet an older unpatched version was listed on the Microsoft store. This just sounds to me more so than anything an error. Just a simple error of, I guess, incompetence is the best way to describe it, or just maybe a mistake. Who knows? I mean, humans make errors. This just seems like an error that they uploaded the wrong version of the game, and maybe it'll be up sooner than we know, because if they put up the correct version, hopefully these vulnerabilities won't be there on PC. All right, if you are a fan of Stalker 2, but you've been waiting to play because it isn't on PlayStation 5, this was originally a console exclusive to Xbox Day 1 and Xbox Game Pass. We knew this was a timed exclusive because of the whole ABK trial. The documents did come out. We just didn't know the exact length of time that this was a timed exclusive. But we now have a release window here for the PS5 version of Stalker 2. So they do say here, out of the blue, Stalker 2 was announced for PS5 on social media, but they didn't give an exact date as to when this game is going to be coming out. But they say here that the perimeter expands. Stalker 2 Hearts of Chernobyl is officially announced for PlayStation 5. Add the game to your wishlist and stay tuned for signals from the zone. So we don't have an exact date that this game is coming out, but it is coming out here for the PlayStation 5. So if you've been waiting for this one, PS5 port is coming down, and it is coming later. I would assume it's not too long of a wait before this one does hit the PlayStation 5. So cool stuff there for PS5 owners who've been waiting to play this game. Now you're going to be able to jump in and play it. A couple more things here. Tokyo Game Show is happening in September, and Xbox is always at those shows, and as usual, they will be at this one, plus many other big names at the Tokyo Game Show this year. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty fun show to watch and see what is announced. But Xbox has confirmed they will be in attendance for the Tokyo Game Show, and they say it's set to be its biggest show yet. The Xbox has been pretty good at the Tokyo Game Show over the last number of years, as they've been trying to grow that audience, and I think they've done a decent job of giving good content for people in Japan to want to go out there and play on, particularly on Xbox Game Pass. But Sony, Capcom, and Sega and many other studios will be there. So I always enjoy this one. This is one of the shows throughout the entire year I look forward to the most. I'm excited to see what they do bring, what other types of announcements they have. Will there be more Square Enix and Capcom games dropping into Game Pass? Those are some big hitters that they try to get and that they try to announce at the show. So will be an interesting one to follow. And of course, I'll want to see what Capcom, Sony, and Sega announce as well. Destiny 2. If you're a fan of this series, all the DLCs are free right now for a limited time. So make sure to go pick those up. You can get them on Xbox. You can get them on PlayStation. Wherever you're playing, these DLCs are free. They say here, earn an arsenal of exotic and legendary gear as you prepare for your first steps into a new saga. Experience Destiny 2, The Witch Queen, Destiny 2 Lightfall, and Destiny 2, The Final Shape expansions, now in open access and available to all players July 8th to July 22nd. 2025. So if you do want to play them, you have until July 22nd. Go get them, go play them, and experience it if you are a fan of Destiny. And layoffs aren't stopping. it's not just one company. It's been happening for 2+ years straight. And here we have some more at Ubisoft laying off 19 people from Red Storm Entertainment. They say here it's a part of a $110 million cost reduction plan over the next 2 years. Ubisoft did say this to IGN, saying, "Today, Ubisoft made the decision to eliminate 19 roles at Red Storm Entertainment. This step is part of our ongoing targeted restructuring and global cost-saving efforts and reflects the needs on the studio's projects. While this was not an easy decision, it was a necessary one given our operational priorities. We remain committed to supporting those affected with comprehensive severance packages, extended healthcare benefits, and career transition assistance. We deeply appreciate their hard work and the impact they have had on Ubisoft." We know Ubisoft is going through changes. I think they're just going to really try to focus on a lot of the titles that make them a lot of money and not have too many offshoots or too many unique games going forward. They've tried some stuff. They didn't really work out commercially. Like if you think about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, the side-scrolling Metroidvania game, which I thought was a phenomenal game, not enough people bought it. Immortals: Phoenix Rising, another, I think, very, very good game from Ubisoft that unfortunately believe flopped commercially because we haven't seen anything else from that series. So they've tried some pretty cool stuff. It just hasn't been hitting, even though people have said they want new things. When the new things are made, if they don't sell, you see companies having to step back and just kind of shrink the scope of the style of games that they do make. But on the video there, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.